Welcome to Rai News in English in collaboration with Rai Italia. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Faithful lined up to pay their respects to Pope Francis as his body lies in state in St. Peter's Basilica after it was transferred from the chapel of Santa Marta, the residence inside the Vatican where he lived. Over 200,000 people are expected on Saturday morning for the funeral of the Holy Father. Leaders from around the world are expected, from Trump to Macron, from Zelensky to Prince William. Massive deployment of police forces in effect, and a no-fly zone is already operational. Our correspondent from St. Peter's, Sarah
Francis' body has concluded. His corpse was brought from the chapel of Casa Santa Marta, where he lived throughout these 12 years of his pontificate, to St. Peter's Basilica. It was then laid at the base of the confessions altar, right in the center of the basilica itself. Long was the procession, marked by death bells toning and led by Camerlengo Cardinal Farrell, accompanied by many other cardinals, priests, and bishops. Pope Francis' family, who lived with him in Santa Marta during his pontificate, was also there, along with all those who were close to him. The pontiff's body will remain on display for 3 days until Friday evening at 8 p.m., when Cardinal Farrell will close the coffin through another ceremony. Then at 10 a.m. on Saturday, the funeral and the pontiff's final journey to Santa Maria Maggiore, where he will be buried next to the icon of the Virgin Mary, Salus Populi Romani, whom he loved so much. That's all from St. Peter.
Francis's criticism of an economy that creates waste and does not care for the planet was prophetic. Sister Alessandra Smerilli, an economist appointed by Bergoglio as secretary in the Vatican, stated Francis has set in motion a different idea of doing economics among young people. The interview by Alessandro Marchetti.
One of Pope Francis' latest messages, delivered on Good Friday, was a no to an economy that both oppresses and rejects. What was he referring to? It was a no to an economy that kills, an economy that I think he would describe as voracious and rapacious, an economy of companies seeking profit at all costs. And that's not to say it's wrong to make profit, just not when it means crushing labor, exploiting people at work in order to increase one's profits, making questionable financial transactions, evading taxes that are used to pay for community services, and all of this makes for an economy that generates waste for the sake of progress. And sadly, it's mostly human waste, environmental waste, and waste in caring for the common home. So it's also an economy that does not respect the planet. It's still difficult for many people to talk about Pope Francis in the past tense. Do you think this idea of his for a more inclusive economy has made an impact or not? I have to say that sadly at first, when he started talking about a globalization of indifference, an economy that kills and wastes, he almost sounded apocalyptic, and nobody listened to him. Yet unfortunately, over these past 12 years, we have seen inequalities and waste increase while we continued to damage the planet. And so he was actually really prophetic when he said these words. However, on the other hand, through these very words of his and through his encyclicals, such as Laudato Si on caring for the common home, that has triggered lots of people who are responsible to the planet, and through his being able to speak even to major entrepreneurs and businesses, through all of this, he has sparked the desire to do economics differently.
The Ministry of Culture today symbolically turned off the lights of the Colosseum as a sign of mourning for the death of Pope Francis. The world of Italian culture is grateful to him, among other things, for his appeal to beauty as a means of spiritual elevation, for his support for the arts and historical memory. His voice was a vehicle of inspiration for many. These are the words of Minister Giuli, who wanted to pay homage to the figure of the pontiff and his tireless commitment to peace and human dignity. And 4 people under investigation for the collapse of the Montefiito cable car in Naples, where 4 people died and a 5th was seriously injured last April 17th. Also under investigation for having the right to appoint their own experts in view of the autopsies and technical inspections are 4 managers of the company that manages the facilities, EAV, which has offered to collaborate with the inquiry. The alleged crimes are disaster and manslaughter. The 63-year-old Sicilian hitman who killed fashion mogul Maurizio Gucci in 1995 on the orders of his ex-wife Patrizia Reggiani yesterday shot his 37-year-old son in the face and seriously injured him after a family row before turning the gun on himself near Pisa. The man, Benedetto Ceraulo, from Caltanissetta, has been living at Santa Maria a Monte for a couple of years now. The Black Widow served 18 years in jail for hiring the hitman. And a look at sports, soccer, the 4 Serie A games postponed as a sign of mourning for the death of Pope Francis will be played instead today at 18:30 local time. The matches are Cagliari, Fiorentina, Genoa, Lazio, Parma, Juventus, and Torino, Udinese. And tonight, the return leg of the Coppa Italia semi-final, Inter-Milan, which will be played tonight at 9:00 p.m. 1 minute of silence will be held before the games. Tomorrow, the other semi-final, Bologna-Empoli. And this edition of the Festival of Pathological Cinema, which features the mentally disabled, is dedicated to Pope Francis. Details from Claudio Vedovati.
He told me, Dario, carry on, keep up this work for kids with mental disabilities. It's important, it's very important. Dario D'Ambrosi is the legendary director of Rome's Teatro Pathological, an invention stemming from his academic experience in a mental institution when he was young, a project devoted to working with those living in mental distress, people Bergoglio has always been close and attentive to. He used to tell me, your strength is the greatest contribution. Hang in there. The 16th International Pathological Film Festival being held these days is dedicated to him as he understood the value of this work. By empowering the weakest, we can empower an entire society. Of course, it's very exhausting. The festival promotes cinema of young people from Italy, Europe, and around the world, depicting mental distress and social marginalization, cinema and theater therapy, the contiguity between madness and creativity, the actor who crosses his own boundaries, and those who live and perceive themselves and the reality through different eyes. The kids think they are playing theater characters, yet all they are doing is enacting their own pathology and pain. On April 24, 25, and 26, the play Odyssey, Ulysses' Dreams will be staged at the venue on Via Cassia with disabled actors performing the hero's journey through his fragility and strength. Pope Francis was a modern-day Ulysses, as he was always battling against everyone.
We thank Sofia Bernabò for the translations. You can find the Italian news in English on our website, rainews.it. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same channel.